What's going on, everybody? Checking this out. If you are, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. I really do. I may not seem like I appreciate it, but I really do. Especially my followers and friends on Twitter that watch any of my videos. Thank you very much. If I had no views, I would stop making them. So this is my TNA UK, whatever. I know they're in the UK again. This is the third or fourth week. I think it's the third week they've been in London. Or wherever they are. Manchester or London. I don't know. They're in the UK, basically. That's where the tapings are from. They probably have two or three more weeks of TV from the UK. This is my Impact on Pop review for February 20, I think it's the 23rd. I think it is. So February 23rd, 2016, Impact Wrestling Impact on Pop review. Up first, we had the kickoff with Beer Money. The show started with Beer Money's theme hitting, and they came down to the ring. Up next was Beer Money against EY and Bram. They started brawling immediately. They started brawling on the outside of the ring. I gotta get up to get a drink. Sorry, I had to leave, but I'm very thirsty. Okay, so EY, Bram, and Beer Money are brawling on the outside. It's a good start to the first six sides of why can't I say this? 6 sides of steel cage match. It was the first cage match of the Lockdown. So I should say this is my TNA Lockdown Impact on Pop review because it was Lockdown. The theme of the show was Lockdown. Used to be a pay-per-view. That's pretty sad and depressing that Lockdown is no longer a pay-per-view, but it's good for us TNA fans because we get to watch it on free cable TV instead of buying the pay-per-view. So I guess it's better for the fans, but it's pretty sad. Lockdown is no longer a pay-per-view. So, good brawl on the outside. They get in the cage. It was pretty good kickoff, good match. I enjoyed it because they beat the crap out of Bram. And I'm not a fan of Bram. The guy's a woman beater. Always will be. In my eyes, when I see Bram, I always think the guy beat up his ex-girlfriend. And whatever, I don't care if his court case was settled and he didn't serve any time or get in trouble or he paid a fine, whatever he did. The guy still beat a woman, and I'm not okay with that, and I never will be. So I think Bram's a scumbag. I will never like the guy. I like EY. He's a great talent. Great heel, great wrestler. Same with Beer Money. Big fan of Beer Money. This match ends. Beer Money gets a victory. Thank God they won because they should have. Up next we had an EC3 promo, which was pretty damn good because EC3 is a great talker, great at promos, great at connecting with the audience. Up next, during the EC3 promo, Spud came out. Rockstar Spud comes out. Spud and EC3 interact. Spud says he helped EC3 not because he wants to be his friend again. He says he helped him because it was the right thing to do at the time. Well, we all know what happened, and we all found out what Spud did at the end of the show to EC3. Stabbed his former friend, I guess you could say, stabbed EC3 in the back and screwed him over. So much for Spud coming out and interacting with EC3 and trying to kind of act like he's his friend and he respects EC3. So, after that promo, we have a X Division match. I think the X Division title was even on the line. Trevor Lee and Tigre Uno in a 6 sides of steel match in X Division action. This was pretty good, pretty entertaining. The dive off the top of the cage. Cage at least 15, 20 feet tall. And Tigre Uno went up there and dove off it and did a high cross body press onto Trevor Lee. That was pretty fucking awesome. That was a great spot. Anyways, Trevor Lee wins. He was with Shane Helms again. Shane Helms works backstage with TNA, I believe is a road agent. But now he's managing Trevor Lee. Good to see Shane Helms on TV again. He's been on TV before this, but it was good to see him again. I've always been a fan of his. So Trevor Lee wins and is still X Division champion. Up next, we had the Knockouts. First ever Knockouts. Lethal Lockdown. 6 sides of steel cage match at Lockdown. Before this, and many other Lockdowns, they used to always put on a Knockouts, Queen of the Cage, escape. To win, you had to escape the cage to win, I believe, or pin your opponent, and all these knockouts would get eliminated and have to leave. And the final 2, I think, would fight for whoever would be the last one standing would be the Queen of the Cage. But this was the first ever Lethal Lockdown Knockouts cage match. It was 3-on-3. But earlier in the show, they showed Madison Rayne, who is part of the Beautiful People still. Madison Rayne was down and injured, holding her knee. I think she was holding her knee. Anyways, Madison Rayne was taken out backstage, so she could not compete and tag with Gail Kim and Velvet. So Gal and Velvet had no partner. It was 3-on-2. Gal goes up to Maria backstage and says, "You are going to be our partner, and I want to see you out there." So Maria, I guess she agreed. I don't even remember Maria speaking back to Gal and answering her, but Maria is supposedly going to be Gal and Velvet's partner. So the Lethal Lockdown Knockouts first ever cage match starts. First comes out Gail Kim, the Knockouts champion. And then after her, Jade of the Dollhouse comes out. They go at it for a while. Countdown clock starts probably 5 minutes in, or 3 minutes in, they do the countdown. They still have the countdown clock in Lethal Lockdown, so it's kind of like War Games rules, kind of. That's kind of what it's like. So, Jade and Gal are going at it. Up next comes out is Marty Bell of the Dollhouse. She comes out, so it's a 2-on-1 advantage against Gal. And then Velvet Sky comes out to make it 2-on-2. And then Rebel, the final Dollhouse member, Rebel, comes out. And it was a pretty good highlight of the show was the Knockouts Lethal Lockdown, in my opinion. The main event and the Knockouts Lethal Lockdown was the highlight of the show, along with Beer Money getting their victory. That was pretty good. That was a pretty good match to kick off the show. So, after Rebel comes out, a couple kendo sticks are being used in the cage. And then Maria comes out, dressed in her ring gear, running to the ring like she's going to get in the ring and help Team Gail Kim. Well, Maria goes up the stairs, closes the cage door, and locks it. Has a chain and locks the door. So locks Gal and Velvet inside the cage. So they can't get out and they don't have a partner. It's 3-on-2 Dollhouse advantage. Dollhouse wins. I expected that. And someone tweeted me on Twitter that maybe Maria could be the next leader of the Dollhouse and next member of the Dollhouse. I could see that very much happening. Maria in the Dollhouse would be a good fit, but Maria's with her husband, Michael Bennett. She's always coming down the ringside with him, so that would be kind of weird to have Maria be in the Dollhouse and be her husband's manager. But maybe they'll do that. But Maria, maybe she'll be behind the Dollhouse, or maybe she just wants Gail Kim's Knockouts title in the future, and that's why she locked the door on Gail and didn't want to get involved in the cage match. And I don't blame Maria for not wanting to get involved, because she didn't have to. She's a heel. She's a good heel, good talker. She doesn't have to wrestle in TNA at all, in my opinion. Even though Maria can wrestle and was trained, she's not a very good wrestler. She's okay, but not very good. But other than that, I love Maria. Just, I don't want to see her in the ring, but I love her as a character, love her as a person. She's great, and she's hot as hell also. So after the Knockouts, Lethal Lockdown, as I said, Dollhouse wins. And Rebel, she's hasn't been in the ring that much. I think she's been in the ring over a year or 2 years. She looked a little bit better and improved in the ring. And I got a like on Twitter from Rebel tonight, so that made me happy. Anyways, up next was Kurt Angle. And Jade hit a cradle power driver like the one Kevin Owens used to do when he's in Ring of Honor. The cradle power driver. Jade hit it on Gal on a steel chair. 1, 2, 3. That's how the Dollhouse won the Lethal Lockdown. Kurt Angle comes out next. Cuts a promo talking about how his final match is, I think, 2 weeks away. And next week, Kurt Angle is facing Bobby Roode. And then the week after that is Kurt Angle's final TNA match. I believe his contract right now is over, because he wrestled his final match. His contract probably expired already. Will Kurt Angle go to WWE and show up on WrestleMania? I very well could see Kurt Angle showing up during Shane McMahon Undertaker. I could see Kurt Angle doing a run-in and getting involved. I think that'd be pretty awesome, because Kurt Angle decided to not re-sign with TNA. At least I don't think he is gonna, and I don't think he did. So I do expect to see Kurt Angle back in the WWE. I just don't know when, but I think he will be back. If he's not back in 2016, 2017, Kurt Angle will be back, and he'll probably go in the Hall of Fame and wrestle a couple matches. Anyways, Kurt Angle cutting his promo, getting a lot of respect from the crowd in the UK, and then Bobby Lashley comes out, acts like a jerk, and a stupid jerk, no respect to Kurt Angle, because he's a heel. And Lashley talks, and then Kurt Angle starts getting pissed. He screams at him, "You're really pissing me off. I'm about to kick your ass." And then the segment ends. Up next, this was really lame and really boring to me. It was in the 6 sides of steel, because every match had to be in the steel cage. Well, this shouldn't have been. This match should have been on TNA's, I think, TNA show outside the U.S. It's called, I think they still have it, Explosion. Well, this match should have been on TNA Explosion, not Impact on Pop. It was old, whatever his name is, Old Door. It was Gradle. Under a mask. It's a stupid ass, a lame gimmick. To me, it's not funny at all. It's stupid as hell, and it's lame. And nobody cares. At least I don't. So, Old Dork, as I call him on Twitter, Old Dork, went up against Eli Drake. Eli Drake, he's a good talent, but I never see him getting far in TNA. He's just a mid-carder, in my opinion. But at least he looks like a wrestler and looks like a tough guy. At least he looks better than Grado. And supposedly Grado wrestled in the UK, European independent companies, and the guy was really over and was really hardcore and bled a lot and was in a lot of hardcore matches. Well, I still don't care for Grado as a wrestler. I just don't care for him. I'm never going to be a fan of him. He's just boring to me. So old Dork loses, or no, he wins. Old Dork escapes the cage and wins. Old Dork wins, and his mask is pulled off. He's on the outside of the ring, and everybody can see it's Grado. Shocker that it was Grado as Old Dork. Because he is a big dork, in my opinion. His character sucks. And the guy looks like a jobber from the late 80s. That would be on WWF Superstars, jobbing the guys like Hogan and Rick Rude and Jake Roberts and any other WWF superstar in the 80s. That's what Grado looks like to me. He looks like a jobber, and I do not care for his character or his Old Dork gimmick. Whatever it's called, Old Dor the Great. I don't care. He's a dork. He's Old Dork. So Eli Drake loses, and then he has Old Dork kicked out of the arena. They kick him out. And Eli Drake's yelling at him, "Get the hell out of here. You don't belong here." And I agree. Grado does not belong in TNA. The guy is not a star and doesn't look like a star or even look like a wrestler. But God bless him. Grado, it was probably his dream to be a wrestler, and he became a wrestler. Good for him. I'm happy for him that his dream came true. So then he's kicked out of the arena, as I said. Up next was the main event. EC3 challenging Matt Hardy for the TNA World title. This match was pretty damn good. Both guys work very well together, have great chemistry together. There were a lot of kickouts. A couple twists of fate were hit. EC3 kicked out, kept fighting and fighting. He almost escaped out of the door of the cage, and then Tigress, I almost said Titus. Tigress was standing on top of the stairs blocking EC3 from going out the door. Then EC3 stands up and goes like this, says, "F you, Tigress, come in the ring and let's fight." So Tigress gets in the ring and they start going at it. There's a chain that Matt Hardy left. I guess it was sitting on the rope. It was like a handcuff, but it was a chain. And I guess it had a lock on it. So then EC3 ended up locking Tigress's hand on the chain to the rope, so he couldn't move. And then EC3 gets a chair, picks it up. Tigress is saying, like, no, don't hit me. EC3 hits him 3 times with the chair, knocks him down on the mat. Tigress is out cold the rest of the match. And then Matt Hardy is about to lose, in my opinion. He probably would have lost because EC3 was crawling for the door, and he would have escaped. And then Rebby Sky, Matt's wife, comes down to the ring with a hammer in her hand to give to Matt to hit EC3 with it and screw EC3. Rockstar Spud runs down to the ring, takes a hammer from Rebby, and then opens the door for EC3, and he was going like this. EC3 was reaching his hand out like he was about to escape. Like, "You're here to save me, Spud. Grab my hand." And EC3 is bleeding a little bit. It was a great drama by EC3. The guy's great. I love his work. And he's great at selling, great at talking, great at wrestling. Excuse me, I was burping. Anyways. So EC3 thinks Spud is there to help him and save him. and EC3 is about to win the world title. Then Rockstar Spud opens the door and slams it in the face of EC3. That sucked. That pissed me off. But whatever. I didn't really expect EC3 to win the world title tonight. I'm sure he'll win it again in 2016 sometime. I don't know when, but it's kind of good Matt Hardy retained because he just won the title like 1 or 2 months ago. So that'd be kind of stupid to have him lose the title in 1 or 2 months. That'd make the TNA World title mean nothing if he's losing it in 1 or 2 months. So it sucks. EC3 got screwed by Spud, his former friend, and EC3 thought he could trust Spud, but he couldn't. Spud turns, takes his little bow tie off. That was pretty funny. And then Matt Hardy's yelling at Spud at the end. EC3's head is laying above the steel stairs, and Spud picks up a chair. And Matt Hardy's yelling at him, finish him. Take out the cancer. Take out the cancer. That was just stupid. Like, EC3 is really a cancer to TNA. No, he's not. He's one of the best, hottest talents going that you have in TNA. Along with a couple other talents I really like the Wolves, Beer Money, the Wolves, EC3, Spud I like. Matt Hardy's a good heel. He pisses a lot of people off on Twitter, but I'm sure that's just him playing with people because he's a heel. And I guess he wants to piss people off for real, or to get people to hate him. So he attacks them on Twitter and puts them down. I think that's an act only because he's a heel. Anyways, Matt Hardy, some people complain that he's not a good talker, not good at promos. I disagree. Matt Hardy is fine at cutting promos. Nothing is wrong with his promos. The only thing that is wrong with his promos are he's annoying. That's it. He's just annoying and gets on my nerves. But he's a good heel. He's a good world champion for TNA right now. But EC3 or even Drew McIntyre, not Drew whatever his name is, Drew Galloway, not McIntyre. McIntyre's his WWE name. Drew Galloway. He could be the next TNA World Champion. If not him, it should be EC3. So now I guess Rockstar Spud is with Matt Hardy and Tigress. I don't know. Something about Tigress I kept thinking when I was watching this main event. I kept thinking about what a god-awful gimmick the WWE gave Tigress. And wanted him to be, I mean, he was Brodus Clay, but basically they changed his name, and I don't even know what his name was, but he's basically the dancing dinosaur. The Funkasaurus is what they were calling him, I think, and that is one of the worst gimmicks the WWE has ever had, was Brodus Clay as the dancing dinosaur. The whatever his name was, it was bad. Brodus Clay's WWE gimmick, the dancing, whatever it was, the Funkasaurus, and then he had the Funkadactyls with him. That was god-awful. To put Naomi and Tamina with them and call them the Funkadactyls, that was shit. And that was just bad idea. To have them dancing with Brodus Clay, it was stupid as hell. I mean, WWE probably did it because they knew kids would love it. And kids would buy his gear. And they probably did. The kids probably loved it. Good for them. I hated it. As a fan, I hated his gimmick in the WWE when he was dancing dinosaur. It was awful. It was just as bad as WCW's PN News. That's how bad it was. And it was just as bad as a Red Rooster, and as bad as a Gobbledygooker. I mean, Funkasaurus was bad. Very, very, very bad, god-awful gimmick. So I'm glad Tigress is out of that misery. And I'm glad he's in TNA back to himself. Because nobody wants to see a 400-pound guy dancing and doing this stupid crap like he's in a Thriller music video. Anyways, this ends my TNA Lockdown review. I just had to bring up Tigress and his god-awful WWE gimmick. I had to bring that up because I hated it. And it bothered me. So I'm glad I brought it up. This ends my TNA Lockdown 2016 review. Hope you enjoyed it. Follow me on Twitter at TNA WWE Guy and at NXT WWE Guy. I will not be doing an NXT review tomorrow, but I will be doing my show on the topic is what's wrong with TNA. I will be doing that on Wednesday. So bye for now. Hopefully you watch it. Have a great day. Have a great Wednesday and great Tuesday night, everybody.